Hi, Beth here. It is June 15th, a little after 8:30, and I'm going to be doing my video about the diffusion of dye through the gelatin experiment. Um, with the information that we had before we did the experiment, we knew that the expected outcome was going to be that the blue dye was going to diffuse faster than the red dye. The experiment that I did support that expectation. Diffusion is when molecules move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration, and different factors that cause that to happen affect that happening are the temperature, the size and weight of the molecules, and the distance that the molecules have to diffuse. So when I did my experiment, and I've got my dish here for you, the well that we created to drop the dye into would be the area of high concentration where the molecules were highly concentrated, and the area surrounding that would be the area of low concentration where the dye needed to diffuse. So it stands to show that because the molecules in the blue dye were much smaller than the molecules in the red dye, they diffused at a quicker rate and over a greater area than the molecules in the red dye that did not move much at all. I don't know if you can see that maybe behind my hand there. That's easier. So I actually did my experiment last night, and I'm doing the video obviously today. So the blue dye has been in here for about 24 hours, and you can see that it's grown quite a bit since I did my table last night, so it's gotten even bigger, the area of diffusion. So I also noticed that when I was sitting next to my window air conditioning unit after I had turned it on, that the rate of diffusion slowed quite a bit. So I moved to my kitchen where it was a lot hotter, and then everything kind of started to speed up a little bit with the blue dye again. So as that is a factor of diffusion, I did notice that as well. Yeah, the blue dye was much faster than the red dye because the molecules are much faster and smaller, and the red dye hardly went anywhere because the molecules are very large. So I hope that answers the question, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks.